Alright, so here we have the interface for our application, StudySpot. Here we have the university ID and the password prompts as needed, and this is the home screen for every user, regardless of if they are new or returning. If they want to enter their information, then they can just do so, and they can hit login to access the app. But let's assume that you're a first-time user and you don't have an account already. We would click the Create Your Account button, and then we can select if you are a student or a university staff member. Let's say that we are a student for now, and we can select this top button right here. We can enter the username, our university ID, and the password we want. And after we input the information, we can click the sign up button. And after that's done, we can select login. But let's say that we forgot our password. We can select the respective tab. We can input our username and ID, and then we can input the password that we want to replace and have as our new password. We click confirm, and now we can click login. So every user is going to be taken to this map interface, which is going to be the central hub. Let's say that we want to click a location, and before we begin, we want to preface that every location that we see here is determined based on their proximity to the user's current location. In this case, it will be these 5 dots right here. Let's pick Clemens, for example. Here we can see the average star user based off of reviews from past users, the physical address, the activity status, in this case it is somewhat busy, as well as the amenities it offers. In this case it is missing food and one other, but it has the 6 others, and so we can say that this is a somewhat accessible facility. Let's say that we want to reserve a room. We will be taken to this reservation tab where we can input the month, year, date, and our current date is highlighted by this light blue tab. The time which we want to reserve, the number of people, although if we want to reserve more than one, then we can select this Packs tab right here, and we can input the usernames and the student emails of the students that we want to reserve as part of the group. And then we can select the I agree to the terms and conditions, hit this this box right here, and then confirm the reservation. And if we were to go back, we can see that upon click, the user will be taken into a side menu down here where they can be shown the list of facilities. In this case, we have selected Grid Coffee, and we can see that it is 0.2 miles from our current location. Same for Monroe, and same for Clemens. And once we've selected a reservation, then we can be taken to the calculation screen. In this case, it will show us directions to Clemens directly. And upon arrival, we can say that we have arrived. And then we will be taken into the Rate Your Trip option, and it will be showing us a background image of the facility. These emoticons right here are correspondent to the user's experience. Obviously, the heart emoji is opposite to the frowny emoji. And we have a few questions. In this case, we have the desired study spots, how busy the facility was, and how many available seats there were at the spot upon arrival. And then once we have confirmation that the feedback is over, we can be taken back to the home screen where we can now use this app again. Now, you might have noticed that when we were clicking on a facility that there was another option. Well, in this case, this menu right here is what we would see if we decided to access the deals option. One thing to note is that upon completing a trip per se, you'll be taken into this automatic prompt that shows the favorite study locations based on your history. In this case, it will be Grid Coffee, Clemens Library, and Monroe Commons for us. And we can select go back to return to the map interface. Now, for the facilities itself, we can filter them based on whether or not they have certain amenities available to us. Let's select printers, for instance. Once we selected that, we can see that 4 of the 5 facilities on the map have the desired amenities, and we can do this for multiple. So, for instance, if we want printers and laptop chargers, we can see that this one and this one to the bottom right have both, but then only the others have one. We can do this for all 8 of the anemones. Some of this will have all of them, some will have only one or even none of them. Now let's talk about the sign up for events tab, the one that we saw earlier briefly. If we were to click on it, then we will be taken into a list of coupons that we can potentially redeem. Let's select Starbucks, for example. Right here, we can see that we have a coupon QR code, as well as a few information about the deal itself. In this case, we want to pay attention to the valid until date, as well as the terms and status. If we want to redeem the rewards, then we just click the button respectively. Now, one thing to note is that if we click on this button right here, the blue dots will change into these flame icons. The blue ones will indicate whether or not a deal is applicable, or you can go to this facility to get a deal yourself, and the orange one will specify if the deal is active for that particular facility. And here we can see that KFC has similar options, as well as Vapiano. And once it is confirmed, then we will be given this QR code that we can save into our photo library. And then we can click exit. The same thing will go for the other facilities, in this case, Quick Coffee. One thing to note, however, is that the reserve a room option is actually in gray, which means that we cannot reserve a room at the moment. And this is also indicated by the live activity status, which is very busy, which is likely why this option is not available to us. And if no deals or rooms are available at the time, then both of these options will be highlighted in gray. And once you have made a reservation for, say, Coleman's Library, as we saw earlier, we can get this drop-down menu. To go back further, we will be taken back to the screen once again, the number of students, as well as the respective prompts if we want to reserve more than one student. And once we click the menu, this drop-down menu, or rather this prompt, will show up to us. And now we can see that on our home screen, we have the Clemens Library reservation. This will show up whenever we click the facility, or in this case, if we have already made a reservation and are now clicking on it a second time to make sure that our information is valid. We can see that upcoming events are also a part of our future. If we want to edit the reservation details, then we can do so by clicking on the button, and it will be taken back to this information respectively, the same as we saw for making an event itself. And this right here would be the interface for viewing upcoming events at, say, a given facility, in this case, Clemens Library. That concludes the demonstration. Thank you for listening, and have a nice day.